My entire family is either farmers or works in automotive. We just grew up, in Michigan, so that's what you did. And although I love gardening, I wasn't going to farm for a living, and I ended up in automotive.
When I first came from Ireland, I had no money, 17, just graduated high school, and frankly needed a job to make money. And I worked in a number of roles and got promoted several times, and by the time I got my master's at night, I found that I was in lottery operations and I absolutely loved it. I had a passion for it.
I chose law because I loved the idea of representing people and being an advocate for someone. And that's actually what's really kept my interest in law all these years later.
I first started helping people one-on-one as a doctor. I then ran my practice to make my practice better. I then was the vice president overseeing practice improvement, helping practices at Mass General do a better job taking care of patients. And now at CVS, I get to help and improve healthcare across the country.
When I was first doing my undergraduate work in biology, I studied things that were really small, like parasites, ticks and fleas, that sort of thing. But then I went into computer science after that and eventually started working for NASA. So there I study things that are immensely huge.
Prior to the bombing, I was an HR executive at Raytheon. I still worked there part-time. But I was very focused on my career and moving up the corporate ladder and what kinds of opportunities Raytheon had for me in human resources. When I was in the hospital, I met people and became very close with people who had completely different career paths. Their career paths involved helping people. And this foundation has given me the opportunity to change my career path and do something that I never thought I would do, and really be able to have an impact on other people's lives in a different way than I had ever thought before.
I became very fascinated with understanding the way that companies operate. Everybody is very different, and helping them to create physical environment support to support what they do was very interesting to me.
Advertising was a great career for me because I think it felt that it matched my personality.
At first I decided, I needed an advanced degree. And then, I had a law professor say, you should try law school. Went to law school, didn't think I was going to be an attorney. Then I really started liking it.
I had a passion for travel and food and wine, and at the time when I was working in Boston, I thought, what's better, driving 2 hours each way to Boston for my job there, or starting my own business and being able to travel and enjoy vineyards and food and wine? So I thought that was a pretty easy decision.
As a former professional figure skater, I said, why don't I use my talent and my energy and give back to the community? And I came down to the rink down in Providence here with a handful of kids. And here we are 13 years later, and we've served thousands of kids from the inner city.
I asked my dad what he thought I should do, if I should pursue becoming a physician or becoming a concert pianist. And he said, do music. You're just going to get married and your husband's going to support you anyway. And my mom heard him say this and she yelled from the other room, don't listen to him, he's old school.
I started out actually in college as a nursing major. A lot of people don't know that. And because I think I just wanted to do something to help people, and I couldn't get past the cat dissection. So maybe I ended up here because I can help people and not have to dissect any living creatures.
I think it starts with your mom, right? It was all about try your best. Give it your best shot and be happy about that.
What sticks with me the most is something my mom said from when we were little, is always take the bull by the horns.
One really important piece of advice came from my mother, who said, always get to work before your boss.
Both for life and career, what you pay attention to grows.
The best advice is to be financially independent and not rely on others.
This too shall pass is a great saying that I've always adhered to. And then in the business standpoint, cash is king.
Don't ever worry about anything. That 99.9% of the things that you worry about never happen, and that it's a waste of time.
The best advice is not to apply logic to an illogical situation.
Don't put off for tomorrow that which you can do today. My mother gave me that advice. I live by it, and it's helped me not only in the office, but also at home.
I believe listening well was the best advice I was ever given.
Stay curious, and by curious it meant, not just asking a few questions, but really digging into the meat of the matter.
Don't take yourself too seriously. If you can't laugh at yourself, well, other people are going to laugh at you, so you may as well laugh at yourself.
My grandfather told me that you never know what is going on in other people's lives, so be kind to them.
To me, as women, we sometimes beat ourselves up a lot for making mistakes and having regrets and not doing something. But I think it's equally as important to celebrate when we do something right or when we avoid a mistake.
Always smile, because you never know what kind of day people have had, but work your tail off.
Solve more problems than you create.
Stay in the moment. Go for it. Excel. Go beyond.
Don't listen to naysayers because they're not going anywhere and they don't want you to either.
Be aware of your environment. You're going to encounter a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. It's always an opportunity to learn.
Follow up quickly with anyone you come in contact with, meaning a thank you note, especially handwritten, is really important, as well as staying connected with them over time.
What you want to do is you want to attach yourself to the smartest person in the room.
Don't be afraid if your passions or your interests change over time. Jump into that next thing and really trust that you know what's best for you in your career.
Say yes and figure it out later.
Say yes to new opportunities. Think about all the reasons why you should say yes instead of discounting yourself.
Follow your heart. Even though that doesn't sound very businesslike, you're going to be forced to make decisions every day. And if you can make it following and listening to your heart, then you can stand up for it.
Find a good mentor. I think a good mentor is huge in developing someone's career.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller.
The biggest professional mistake that I had was thinking money would make people work harder or would have a better work ethic, and that's something that comes from within.
Whatever that professional mistake has been, and there's been a few of those, it usually came down to I treated somebody wrong. And I try to learn from that every time.
What I learned, and I luckily learned it fairly early on, was just hire early and fire early.
Early in my career, I made the mistake of not giving bad news quickly enough. And I've learned that now just get it done and get it over with.
I always make the same mistake, which is to assume that people think about the world the way I do. And those are often dangerous assumptions, and the worst mistakes come when you don't take the time to meet people where they are.
One of my biggest mistakes, and it's something I still struggle with today, is trying to do too many things.
I've made this mistake a number of times, and that is to let others define me and hamper my growth.
I think I was focused on things that weren't as fulfilling as they could have been. So I don't think I realized that mistake until, unfortunately I lost my leg, but that's one of the positive things that's come on with me.
Taking on the wrong client when I knew it wasn't a good fit.
When I was a young practitioner, I definitely worried too much. It could be the smallest hearing, the smallest deadline, and I might be up late worrying what's going to happen.
Growing up, and because I was a terrible math student, everybody told me I would never need it, and I really needed it. If I could roll back the clock, I would have invested more energy in understanding how things ran from a financial standpoint.
Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
Like most parents, the idea of work and life balance, that push and pull is always there. So to say that I'm doing that successfully is perhaps a question better asked to my children when they're grown-ups, or perhaps even my boss.
No, I do not believe in it. Balance to me is a scale, if one is up, the other's down, and that's not what it should be about. It should be about integration.
The life part of the balance is huge. It makes you a more interesting person. It allows you to decompress and not be just focused on work, because there's always one more email you can attend to, one more phone call.
So if you think you're ever going to catch up at work, you're not going to, so you're constantly reprioritizing.
As women, we try to do everything to our best, right? We want to do everything, but we just simply can't, because something's got to give, right? So I'd say there's got to be. I still am hopeful that there is.
Do the best you can. Make sure that you understand that your family comes first. I offer flexible schedules and people working from home whenever it's necessary for them to work from home. because I think it's really important to their mental health.
Work-life balance for me is all about flexibility.
I have 3 kids. I love my kids. I have a husband. I love my husband. I love my work. I try to do everything. I love to play piano. It's very hard to find a balance. I think that just try to do the best you can.
I have a secret about how I got through all this. My kids are now 19 and 23. When they were teenagers, I had a house manager. Relying on other people to help support and allow you to do the things that are really most valuable was crucial.